What brought us to OAC? Two things, actually. One was pancakes. That's very important.
I like how much of a family we feel like.
And not being judged on who I am, where I'm from.
How it doesn't feel like just a bunch of people. We're together in this.
The worship.
We're learning about the Bible.
Something I like about OAC is the Bible quizzing.
I like the quizzing because
the youth group.
It felt like home.
Our kids zone is awesome.
Free hugs.
Is there anything that I don't like? No, not really.
Healthy things grow. The Church of Jesus Christ grows. Jesus himself said, "I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it." A simple survey of the book of Acts and the early church demonstrates that the church was intended to grow. Jesus said, "You will receive power to be my witnesses when the Holy Spirit comes upon you." And then we see that as people believe in Jesus and turn to the Lord, they're added to their number. They become part of the church because the church was intended to grow. This has been true in Okotoks just over the past 20 years. Churches that were begun up to a century ago have grown and needed to build. Okotoks Alliance Church began in temporary spaces in 1988 and built a chapel on our current property, which was replaced with our current auditorium and nursery wing in 1994, and then the two-story addition on the north side of our building was added in 1999. And the Church of Jesus Christ has grown. But here's our concern. Every other evangelical church here in Okotoks, other than our church family, is either landlocked or they don't even own their own land yet, a necessary step before they can add permanent seats of worship for those in our community who would come and join them. Add to this the development around us in the MD of foothills, and we're talking substantial numbers of people. Each of these new homes have been filled and will be filled with families who need Jesus, people who need a place to belong. Who's going to share Jesus with all those people who now live here? And once sharing Jesus with them, how are we going to add them to our numbers if we can't even offer them a place to sit on a Sunday morning? We've talked about adding a third service to our Sunday mornings, but churches doing this tend to fill their middle service and find that people just don't want to come to worship at 8 a.m. on a cold Alberta morning, nor are they inclined to worship through their lunch hour or their normal lunch hour at noon. We've talked about starting a Saturday night service. But the biggest and most successful churches in Alberta running well-established Saturday night services at best get 60% of their largest Sunday morning attendance. Well, for us that means like 50 or 60 people on a Saturday night. That's just not enough. Not only has Okotoks grown substantially, but Okotoks is slated to grow substantially again. The Darcy Ranch and Wedderburn properties to the south of the Honda dealership have been bought, and the town of Okotoks tells us that 5,700 homes will eventually be built on that real estate. In the longer term plans, the land across the road from us to the east, it will house that many and more over the next 20 to 60 years. We as a church family have almost 9 acres of land that those who have gone before us have bought and held with great foresight. Now, in this day in history, the privilege and the responsibility falls to you and to me to see the Church of Jesus Christ thrive and prevail here in Okotoks. Those who've gone before us paid off the mortgage. Many of us have contributed to a tidy sum that has been set aside, and now the invitation is for us to give again. That we would see our church home renovated and expanded. Here's the wise and considered plan before us. Our current lobby space will be expanded into our current auditorium, and this space will double as meeting spaces midweek or as needed. On Sundays, this space will become gathering space, hanging out space, with corners and chairs to linger in, while you enjoy a coffee or a tea with a friend. And then, due west, we will walk through the doors at the end of our current building into the new space we will create. It will have a servery-style kitchen, well-equipped to minister to our church family and those from our community who might join us. It will contain some badly needed storage space, but the real treasure will be the beautiful, spacious, I want to come back here auditorium, with windows that look out toward the mountains and a much larger stage for church events and weekend worship, as well as the performing arts. This new auditorium will have seating for 360 people, replacing our current 164-seat auditorium. We've delayed the plan to move the offices and consolidate our Kids Zone ministries, but we are roughing in washroom facilities because this is still a need and is still our dream to get this done. This renovated and expanded space isn't just for us. We've been dreaming dreams for years of bringing people from the greater community of Okotoks and beyond through these doors. If their first trip is for a concert or recital or a rehearsal or a community meeting of some sort, hopefully it makes the next trip through these doors a little easier. But this renovated and expanded space is also for us and those who are yet to be added to our numbers. This is about fresh and welcoming space for our children and youth to fall in love with Jesus, grow in love for Jesus, and invite their friends to fall in love with Jesus too. This is about useful kitchen space where family meals and community gatherings can be well hosted. This is about an inspiring worship space where you and I will meet with Jesus in worship and invite Him to grow us into His image. This may be the space where our children will be married, where our children and grandchildren will be dedicated to the Lord. And it may even be the space that will host your or my funeral, when our lives, lived out faithfully before the Lord, will be celebrated and Jesus Christ will be supremely honored. The space we're talking about is a place to belong. It's a place that will stand, God willing, until Christ comes again. And until that point in time, it will beckon our community to turn to Jesus and be saved. The Church of Jesus Christ is called to grow. It is our deepest desire that she would also be a place to reflect, to inspire, to pray and play, to restore, to worship, to teach, grow, and belong. This is our legacy, friends. This is our hour. We are being invited by the living God to join Him in a work that He is doing. We are called to grow, a place to belong. We are the Church of Jesus Christ. And there's no one I'd rather be the Church of Jesus Christ with than you.